I didn't have anything, and I just needed the essentials in life. I didn't need a fancy car or pretty clothes. I needed toilet paper. I needed shampoo. I needed somebody to give me a chance to breathe, because when you're homeless, you don't breathe. You just don't. I was able to exhale finally.
In 2008, I separated from my husband. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for many years, was just going back into the workforce. We had packed everything that we needed, everything that we thought was essential in the back of the Suburban, and everybody had their own little Rubbermaid organizer to keep track of stuff. And I have a dear friend that let us stay with them for several months. So all three of us crammed in a full-size bed in their guest room.
I was losing my house. My house was going into foreclosure.
Well, I was working part-time at Walmart, and I had a boyfriend. You know, we got pregnant. Right around 23 weeks, I developed preeclampsia and had to have my daughter at 24 weeks. So she stayed in the hospital for 4.5 months. And I stayed with her. I had no choice. I wasn't going to leave my kid. So I lost my place, lost my job, and that was it. It's very hard to ask for anybody for help, especially when you've done it all yourself for so long. You know, you get to a point where you have to ask for help.
Victim of domestic violence from my ex-marriage, and the friend I knew, the friend who was from here, Colorado Springs, she's under disability, and therefore she's under low income. She lives in a low income house, and they could only allow me to stay there for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks were coming to the end, and I had nowhere to go.
We had found ourselves trying to find places to stay with friends and family. Most of them were short-lived. They opened their homes to us, but we couldn't stay long, and on to the next family or friend. And I eventually had worn out all of my welcomes and didn't know where to turn next. And in fact, next was going to be homeless shelters.
Because when you're in the chaos that is homelessness, you don't realize that you are in survival mode until you're able to step away from it. You don't realize how bad things are getting, and how, you know, I put my blinders on for the sake of my 2 kids, you know, always had that smile. No, we're gonna be okay. Guess where we're staying tonight? It was like trying to make it an adventure.
Across the nation and in Colorado Springs, there's a quiet crisis of families who are experiencing homelessness. It's different than the folks that you imagine when you imagine someone who's homeless.
For the general population of Colorado Springs, when you think of homelessness, you think of the people begging on the street corner. You think of the addicts, the alcoholics, the mentally ill who are choosing to live under a bridge, or you think of the people who are unbathed and who partying at the park every night. You don't think about the families that have just had experienced one chunk of bad luck after the other. Loss of a job, loss of a marriage ending, loss of a home. And we float under the radar, I think.
And so there's a lot of conversation about, well, homeless people need to get a job. Our families are trying to get jobs, but until they can stabilize their family unit in a housing, it's really tough to accomplish those goals.
For the most part, the women are just like me. They're not there because they don't want to work or they don't want to be viable members of society. They can't be, for whatever reason. When you're homeless, you can't get a job because you need an address to apply for a position.
I had a parent of one of the students that I worked with that worked at Tessa, and she said, well, you would be a great candidate for Partners in Housing. And I'm like, what's that? I've never heard of it. And she said, well, it's an organization for homeless families. And I said, oh, no, we're not homeless. We're not homeless. And she's like, well, where do you live? And I'm like, well, right now, this week we're going to stay at so-and-so's house. And she's like, Carrie, do you realize what you're saying, right? You don't have a home. You are homeless. And I had been in such denial.
I completed my intake interview, and I waited not long, maybe a day, maybe two, and I got great news that I had been accepted into the program. I felt hope from that very moment. I felt hope.
They don't spend a lot of time talking about what got you here. They talk about how are we going to get you to the next level? How are we going to get you on your feet so you can be stable, so you can provide for your family?
The program is about empowering you and giving you hope and giving you the skills you need to be able to never end up in that situation again. They gave me the foundation I needed to be able to stand on my own 2 feet.
When a partner comes into this program, they come into this program and they make commitments. They, commit to either finding a job or education. So they are held accountable.
Working with the staff at Partners in Housing was critical to me just feeling better. My caseworker was able to let me know that I wasn't a worthless person sitting in a corner on the street. She gave me my strength back. The volunteers showed me that life could be fun again. Because when you're in that situation of homelessness, happiness is not even part of the equation. But the volunteers, through working with the kids, through reading programs, through learning how to use a job website. I had never had to do that. I'd always had a job. So the volunteers so easily sat down next to me and said, this is what you need to do. And they walked me through every step. So they're invaluable.
Partners in Housing is not just a program to help people for a year. It's to help people for their lives. I know now that I have all the tools that I ever need to make my own future great. And nobody can take that away from me.
It helped me from 1, having a place to live, 2, to having it furnished, 3, the having the counselors there, the budget counselors, and kind of guiding me, I believe that it took me from being homeless to now I have, a home and a car and a job, and, I'm not on any assistance or anything like that, and that was within a year's time.
The thing about Partners in Housing is when I came into Partners in Housing, they were like, okay, this is the situation you're in, but this doesn't define where you're gonna go. You put in the work, you make the program work for you, then, the possibilities are endless.
Our main mission at Partners in Housing is to end homelessness. And that looks different for every person in the community, but one of the biggest things we look for is helping the children who are experiencing homelessness never having to experience that again. So by us helping those families, helping those parents, we help change those children's lives so that they don't then become homeless in the future.
Partners in Housing, they were there. They allowed me to be the mom that I wanted to be. Having a place to be, having people that care, it gives you that hope back. It leads you on and up.
Partners in Housing is a place where you can get your dignity back.
I'm Margaret, and I'm past client of Partners in Housing.
My name is Sarah. I am a former partner.
My name is Stephanie, and I am a past partner client of Partners in Housing.
I'm Anita, and I'm a past Partners in Housing client.
My name is Tamara. I'm a former partner at Partners in Housing.
My name is Sharon. I am a past partner of Partner in Housing. I sit on the board, and I also teach life skill classes for Partner in Housing.
I'm Carrie Ellen. I'm a graduated partner from Partners in Housing, and I am currently serving as Vice President on the Board of Directors.